What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Keeping Up with the Commanders. Welcome to season 3 of this podcast. So that is also this is the first episode of season 3. Today we have on Washington Commanders superfan and analyst for the Happy Valley Insider at Rivals, Josh Taylor. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, man. Season premiere. That's a big title to live up to for me.
Yeah, it's the third season. It's going to be a great season. A lot of guests coming on for this season, probably more than in past seasons. But we have a lot to talk about today. We're recording this on the day where the Washington Commanders sale is set to be official.
Yeah, they're talking right now.
Yeah, they are in the meeting room going over like the rules or whatever right now. So yeah, we'll start with that. I mean, hopefully it's going to be official today. What do you? I know Rio asked me this actually earlier today, but what is your favorite moment and what's your least favorite moment under the Dan Snyder era?
Ooh, first off, love Rio, by the way. That's my guy. Gosh, I mean, I don't have like a Dan related. I don't have a good memory of him.
Well, I guess like under the time, we'll say.
Man, like I want to say like the playoff game, but like we weren't there. Like I had a little cardboard cutout of myself there because of COVID and everything. But like I remember like I was at the Kirk Cousins. You like that game? Like as a fan, that was electric. I was also at the Sean Taylor game where they like retired his number.
Yep, I went to that one too.
That was, I mean, yeah, it like for me as like because like that's like my idol. Like I legit want to get a Sean Taylor tattoo. Like that's like the guy I looked up to as a kid. So like for me, like it still was like emotional, like it hit home for me. Like, yeah, they missed on a lot of stuff. It didn't like it could have been so much better. But just him being there, like seeing Gabe, like I follow Gabe a lot because he plays at Rice. So hopefully we draft him. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
But like for me, like as a fan, like, and I've always had really good interactions with Tanya. That's the crazy thing. Like at training camp and like talking to her and stuff. They actually like invited me to like interview some of the players at the draft, not this past year, but the year before that. So I was talking to like Jonathan Allen, Doug Williams was there, Kendall Fuller, Logan Thomas, some of those guys. Like she stopped by like totally like unannounced and was just like talking to all of us. So like she's cool. Like I don't have a problem with Tanya. I feel bad for her because she has to put up with Dan.
Yeah.
But like it's in my opinion, like he is like the root of all evil. Like I hate to say it about a person, but like he has literally done so much damage to such a great franchise too. That's what sucks. Like, yeah, you can blame it on like the name change and stuff like that. Like, yeah, like I'll be honest, like the name change does still hit me sometimes. Like, because you see like this old pictures like Dwayne Haskins in a Redskins uniform, like the old like helmet and stuff. Like, dang, that kind of sucks. But I feel like as a fan, like, like content stuff aside, like you feel like you're getting your team back in a different way. So in my opinion, like I'm super excited about this. Like, and a lot of people said this is like our Super Bowl, which is kind of sad, but it's that big. Like I don't think people realize how much stuff we've been through.
Yeah, it's like the biggest event in arguably like Washington football history. This happening right now, because just the amount of, like you said, the damage that Dan Snyder has done year after year, reports after reports that have come out about him. It's a lot that he's done, and I think again there's been a lot of jokes about like people making fun of like Commander fans because you root for a team where at the top of it is just a really evil person, and now it's gone. And I know there's like some concerns over Josh Harris, but his concerns are a lot different than Dan Snyder. And so I think, I mean, as someone who's like only lived under Dan Snyder's reign in Washington, it's definitely a big relief.
Yeah, I'm a 93 kid. I can't remember exactly when he took over. It was like right there. So it's been pretty much my whole life, if not my whole life. But like big picture wise too, like you have to think about like how much this impacts, like, because like, and just being honest, like I've talked to like agents and stuff, they hate us. Like agents legit hate us because they hated Bruce Allen and they hated Dan Snyder. Like they refused to talk to Dan Snyder, and he refused to talk to a lot of them. It just really turned off a lot of players. Like I hate to say it, but like draft guys, free agents, like wanting to come here. Like you just have to think like on field wise, this is like a huge lift too. Cause like, I feel like we'll finally like be respected again. Like coaches are going to want to come here. Like, sorry, Ron, but like the Sean Paytons and, these high profile coaches are going to want to come here because it's totally different. It's a new life. We'll finally get a stadium.
Yeah,
that's
eventually.
Like, that should be like number one priority, that concrete jungle we got in Landover, Maryland. And And like once again, like the mayor, if the mayor is coming out and saying we don't want your business, we don't want to build a multi-million-dollar sports stadium here because of you, like that should just tell you. I think that was one of the final straws and all this. The NFL's like, we're missing out on like big opportunities because this guy, and owners hate him.
Yeah,
rightfully so. I mean, Jerry Jones is already celebrating.
Yeah, Jerry Jones. Yeah, when he arrived, he was like, it's like a hallmark day for the NFL or something like that. So
he's happier than us.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, like Jerry Jones and Washington fans are working towards the same goal. I
still
thought
hate
I
him.
would
He's
never
still
say
weird
that,
too.
but yeah, it's yeah, that's pretty crazy. You mentioned like players and coaches not wanting to come here. Trent Williams, a big example of that, where he, like, I don't know what, I don't remember exactly what went down, but I know there was some friction between him and Bruce Allen, which ended up him being traded instead of getting a contract extension. So that's a pretty good example there. Again, you mentioned the stadium as well. My next question was going to be, if you were Josh Harris, what would the first thing that you do as an owner?
It's start the plan, because that is a long process. It's not going to be like, hey, 2 years from now.
Yep.
It's probably, man, it's going to be like 2027, like 2026 at the earliest. Like,
I think the contract that they have with the land ends in 2028. So I'm not sure what they can do until then.
Yeah,
but
at least break ground, like have a plan. And I can't be biased about this because I don't live in Central Virginia anymore. I was living right in Charlottesville. So it wasn't like that bad of a drive from, like, I grew up in Fredericksburg. It's like right below like DC and Ashburn and all that.
Yep.
So like me, like I'm like, yeah, put this stadium where I'm only driving 40 minutes instead of 2.5, 3 hours up 95, dealing with DC traffic and just a headache of a mess. Everyone's like, no one's gonna want to come to Virginia for all these games. I'm like, look, we did it for this long. Y'all can start doing it now. Like, there's a lot of money in Northern Virginia. But like culture wise, I still say drop it in DC. I would love to have it at RFK. Like they said, it's still a possibility though.
Yeah, but RFK, like, you've seen pictures and stuff from that place. It kind of like almost completely needs to be redone. It's like you got weeds growing everywhere. It's not great. But yeah, I think DC would definitely be the prime place to kind of make everyone happy if they can find a good spot. But again, besides RFK, I don't really know. I know there's been some talks about like a potential spot being near the National Harbor, because there's like a bunch of green area over there.
Yeah, that's a lot. We had that little that draft party. It was at the National Harbor,
and everyone showed up.
Yeah, did you go to that?
I didn't go to that, but I saw the pictures from it. Everyone was there. It
was a good time. It was fun. It was just good, like, because like draft wise, I usually either go to the draft or I'm just like at home or something. So it's good to like have that draft party. But like we were saying that, like me, Rio, and a bunch of other guys, like this would be a really good spot to put it because like traffic wasn't crazy. They had like a really good water behind it. Like I remember I went to Cleveland for that draft, and like they have like, I don't know what it is, like it's some body of water behind it, but it just looked really cool. Like having that, like you're walking downtown, there's like a big ramp you go down, and you just see the stadium, like the water behind it. It looked nice.
Yeah,
like we're just like getting off exit on 95, like, oh, we're here.
Waiting off the line. Nowhere. Yeah, but National Harbor. I think if I had to pick a place right now, I think it would. If I had to pick anywhere, I think the National Harbor would be a perfect place for it. But that's just me. So I guess
how far that is from the Ravens Stadium though. It's not that far.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess like Landover isn't that far either.
It's really not. Landover is like what 10 minutes from DC to the.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not in a good spot. Like I like the location of it, like on a map, but like where it's at, like just right off the highway, it's a mess. It is just it's in a really bad spot. There's nothing around. There's like no bars, no restaurants around it. That's what I tell people all the time. Like people like that come over, like, oh, what can we do before the game? I'm like, tailgate.
Nothing. Yeah, tailgate. That's it.
Tailgate. Get Johnny Rockets.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell
you. I know the renderings that they came out was like a year ago now. I think
those were wild.
Those were crazy. It looked like it kind of reminded me of the National Stadium where there's stuff all around it. It's kind of like a mini city.
That's what I like. I like the Nationals.
Yeah, I like the Nationals, like, because there's so much stuff to do around the stadium too, not just in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of like parking spaces.
That's literally it. Just
FedEx
broken up asphalt and concrete.
Yeah. Yep, that's.
We used to do there's a 5K that we used to run on like the second day of the draft. No, it's the third day. It's on that Saturday.
Yeah.
And I ran it like 3 or 4 times. It was awesome because you could like run out the
Mhm.
tunnel and stuff. It was fun. But they had like stopped doing it just because like the majority of it that you run is the parking lot. The parking lot just got so bad.
Yeah.
Like you're like going up these hills and stuff, and you're like, oh, watch out for like this earthquake of a parking spot that's in the way.
Yeah.
So it just got so bad. They don't take care of it. But like at the same time, like I wouldn't put money into a place like I know I'm not gonna have that long. But
Yeah.
they did make it a little bit better the last few years. Like shout out to Jason Wright and those guys that the fan experience has been much better. So all these people like saying like, oh, I'm gonna sit out until Dan's gone. Like, well, now he's gone in a few hours.
Now show up. Show up.
So you better show up. That's my gripe with people.
The place better be packed week 1. It's against the Cardinals. Like,
oh yeah, Colt
literally
McCoy.
every single reason. It might not even be Colt McCoy. It might be Clayton Tune. Like, you have every single reason to show up to that game.
Shout out to Clayton Tune though. He's cool.
Yeah, he's kind of nice.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's a game that we just straight up murder the Cardinals. So I agree with you. Like, I think like fans have to come. Like I've got my tickets, and I know like I'm going with a group of like 20 people. Like, it's there's no way it's not going to be sold out, and it's not going to be the whole Arizona travels here. They're literally as far as humanly possible away from us. I better not see like more than. I'll be like realistic too. I better not see more than like 3,000 Cardinals fans there.
Yeah,
I've met one in my life in the whole entire DMV area. I was like one of my friends from high school.
Yeah.
Don't even know why they like the Cardinals. But like it's not the same where you show up and it's like the whole other side of stadiums, Giants, Eagles, Cowboys fans, even Vikings fans. Good Lord.
The Packers game was like packed with like Packers fans that one time last year.
It's always those older historic teams and the families move around and they start their own families instead of picking up Washington fans like, oh, we're gonna stay Packer fans. But it's always those older teams. Yeah, like Vikings were crazy. They were doing a little skull chant across the side, made me so mad. I remember I went to that one this year too.
That was the only home game I didn't go to, was the Vikings one.
I was directly in front of Curtis Samuel when he made that crazy catch.
Yeah. Oh, that was a nice catch. Heineke, I don't know what Heineke was thinking, but I mean, it's just he's gone now. He's gone. It's Sam Howell now.
We ripped that Band-Aid off.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Sam Howell, we got training camp start, rookies report the day after we are recording this on the 21st, and then everyone else reports on Tuesday, and then fans show up on Thursday. So a lot of stuff happening with training camp. Sam Howell, what do you expect to see out of him? I know you. I think you said that you're going to training camp at least a few days. I want to say, or
so I'm flying back. I'm leaving. I'm in Austin, Texas now. I leave Wednesday, and then training camp starts Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Love those early morning practices, man. It's they got the dew on the grass still. Like it's just the players run out. It's not too hot yet, and then like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, everybody's dying. But I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I might come back for that August training camp because I'm coming to the preseason game for the Ravens. I know, crazy. I'm flying from Texas to Virginia for a preseason game, but I just love this team that much. And the tickets are super cheap. And I got some Delta credit to use up this season. So I mean, that's like the thing I'm looking forward to, and I've been following Sam for a long time. Like even back when he was with Phil Longo, offensive coordinator at North Carolina, I was a huge Sam Howell fan. And I remember like meeting him at the Senior Bowl. Like I hung around him so much. Everyone's like, dude, you're fanboy. I'm like, dude, we're going to get this guy. And like, I'll never forget the day we drafted him. So many people, I literally had like almost 100 DMs. People like, oh my God, yo, we got your guy. We got Sam. I was like, I can't believe it. Because the 5th round is just wild. But I'm such a Sam Howell fan. He's such a good guy too, like off the field, like just talking to him. He's like, he is your like old fashioned, like North Carolina country Christian boy, like super nice family. Like just look like the kid that played like really good baseball at your high school back in the day. Like that's Sam Howell. He's just a cool guy. But and I think he's so underrated as a player. And now like a couple people like Mina Kimes, Dan Orlovsky are starting to give him his roses a little bit. Like, hey, he actually looked really good in that Cowboys game. But he lit up training camp last year. Like he was noticeably different. Like you could just tell right away. And they did a couple drills where they were like rotating first, second, and third team, and he got like very few reps with like the first team.
I remember that. Like everyone was like, because he showed so many flashes during training camp, and I don't know why. I guess like Wentz, Heineke. I don't know what Rivera was thinking, but
It's just pressure. Like if you spend that much money on Wentz, you have to obviously play him as much as possible. You milk that thing until it's dry. Like you spend that much money on a guy, even if it's for a year. Like if you rented like a bike for a year, you're gonna drive that thing as much as possible. You're not gonna be like, it's over there. Like I wasted my money on it, kind of thing. I'm gonna walk today. Like no, you're gonna ride that bike.
Yeah.
And but I'm not saying like Wentz looked bad at practice. It was in the games where he looked so bad because he looked good at practice too. You're like, wow, Wentz is huge. He's a giant. And Sam Howell's kind of short.
Yeah, he was so much bigger than Heineke and Howell. Both of them are like
crazy.
6 foot tall, and Wentz is like 6'3" or whatever.
Yeah, so when you're standing up close to like Logan Thomas and you're a quarterback, who was a former quarterback too, it's crazy. Like I didn't think he was gonna be that big, Wentz. But you can tell when he throws the ball, Sam Howell has like the best velocity I've ever seen in my life. When I was at the Senior Bowl, it was him, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, and Bailey Zappi, and they had Zebra, who actually like does a bunch of measurements. Like they put sensors in the footballs and stuff. His velocity, I don't know what they measured with. It's like whatever per like rate, like the spin rate on it was like 200 higher. They're like this is the highest we've ever seen.
I think I remember
in the whole history of the Senior Bowl. They're like his velocity is the highest ever. Like his RPM, like the spin rate on the ball is the highest it's ever been. They're like his pass is like insane. So like the numbers like back up, and then you see how it pops off, live in the game. And
the Terry throw, man.
Oh,
I've watched that like 100 times since then.
Whenever I have to go to the gym, I'm like not motivated to get on the treadmill for an hour. I just put that game on, no joke.
Yeah.
And I see that when I'm like running side by side, Terry in my head. But it was crazy. I didn't expect it. I almost missed watching that game because I was actually in Baltimore. I didn't go to it, which is the biggest regret of my life, man, not going to that game, especially against the Cowboys. But I remember I was like watching on my phone, and then we watched it like this bar for a little bit. And I went nuts. Like I was like the only Washington fan in this whole entire, it was like a sports bar sub. I legit stood up, ran outside, started running around. I was like, we haven't had that in a long time. I think the closest thing to that was that Dwayne Haskins throw. Remember against the Jets?
Yeah.
Like deep left. I forgot who he threw it to. Oh, it was Harmon. Harmon caught it.
Yeah.
And it was like a preseason game, but we were like, dude, that was like 70 yards. It just popped off his hand. So I think like Sam's gonna bring that excitement back. Like in the passing game. It's not gonna be like a stressful. I think he'll have turnovers and stuff like that, but it's not gonna be like that. Oh my God, we have a liability at quarterback again. Like, Patrick Ramsey. Sorry, Jason Campbell, you're a good guy too. But I mean, like, those days, those are finally over. So I'm excited about Sam though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very young team this year, just overall, especially the offense. We know how good these wide receivers are going to be. I am so excited for Jahan Dotson. I know you probably know a lot about him, but man, that guy,
Jahan right there.
Yeah, that guy's gonna be so good. I think he's a little bit underrated right now because when he was healthy last year, like for being a rookie, his route running and off the ball, off the snap, release and stuff,
it's insane.
Was so good.
I think, in my honest opinion, I think he's a top 10 release package in the NFL. Whether it's like a single move, and not even just like on his release, but like his breaking point releases, like whether it's like a speed cut, square cut, whatever, like he does it flawlessly. He gets separation, and that's what like separates the really good wide receivers. Like you look at what Justin Jefferson does, like he doesn't do anything crazy different. He's just so good at what he does, and he can get released at any point, whether it is the release, the stem, the breaking point in his route, whatever it is. Like he is so good at it. That's what's crazy. And then perception with Matt Harmon. Love him too. Like he's been raving about him all offseason. He's like, more people need to talk about how flawless his route running is.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the best, especially in rookies. He was like first or second against man and coverage. Man and zone coverage. Like in the whole NFL, like he was like one of the top percent, like in the win percentages. But yeah, you watch that Cowboys game, like every route he was running, he was wide open across the middle.
Yeah.
And out of like Penn State, everyone's like, oh, he's a smaller guy. He's going to be like some slot receiver, or I'm like, no, he's going to be more like a Tyler Lockett kind of mixed with like a Doug Baldwin, because Doug Baldwin has a filthy release package too.
Yeah.
But like he can kill you deep. Like he's fast, but he has really good hands. Like he had the highest, he had the lowest drop rate in the whole class in his draft class, and then he had the most sure hands of every wide receiver, which is a really stacked wide receiver class, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, we look at the guys there, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, maybe. Like, he was a great prospect coming out, but we'll have to wait and see.
I'm a closet Alabama fan, so I love J-Mo.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of people were saying when we drafted him at what I think it was like 16 or 17.
16.
Like, I think 16, yeah. It was a reach. But I mean, I guess the similar pick this year, people were saying Emmanuel Forbes was a reach, smaller guy. I mean, we'll have to wait and see with him as well. So,
well, the good thing is like they're all Washington players. Same with Forbes. They like if you think about like Terry McLaurin, like just who he is as a person, like he is an exact mold of Jahan. Like if you talk to them, hang out with them, like they're the same person. Like very professional, not like some crazy social media guy. Like doesn't go out there like no shot at Sauce Gardner or like some of these guys, but like they don't they don't like stream, like they don't care, like they just love football. And the funny thing about Jahan that I heard like at Penn State, no matter where he went, he always had a football with him. Like whether if it was in class, whether it was the store, like driving around, he always had a football in his hand. And I kid you not, like whenever I'd go to Penn State, he always had a football. Like even like the pro days for like other players and he's just there supporting, he would go grab a football and just hold it. And then at training camp last year, we're like watching him and he wasn't even on the drills. He's literally holding two balls at the same time. I'm like, dude, this guy legit just loves ball. And I think Forbes is like that same guy, like not a household name. You don't really know too much about him, but he just like sticks to himself. Like he just wants to be good. And you're like, oh, this guy's actually really good just because he's not loud about it or, you know, saying like, oh, I'm the best. Or like my Madden rating sucks on Twitter or stuff like this. Like that doesn't mean you're not a good player. So, I mean, I have some side concerns about Forbes, but I'm really excited to see what he brings to his defense to get some turnovers.
Yeah, because this defense, it needs turnovers. Last year, that was one of the big issues with it. I just felt like could not get a stop. Like, we could get stops, but, like, some of the big turnovers. It was working towards the end of the season, that Cowboys game. We had the defensive touchdown. But
yeah, the Eagles game, that's when it really hit. That big, that shocker.
For like most of the games, though, especially at the beginning of the season, I just felt like the team could not get a turnover at all. But yeah, going back to the wide receivers, I know with Eric Bieniemy coming in, there's starting to get a lot of hype around. It feels like it happens every year, but around Antonio Gibson, like playing more as a wide receiver. I know he's a wide receiver in college at Memphis, but what do you think is Bieniemy's game plan with him going to training camp?
I think like I did a little video about, you know, studying what Bieniemy did with Jerick McKinnon last year, which was, I think it got some hype, but like people don't realize like Jerick McKinnon had 9 receiving touchdowns as a running back last year. That's a lot. Travis Kelce had 12 and he had 4 in one game. So the fact that your running back was your second leading receiver on the team, and I get it, you have Juju, Sky Moore, like not the craziest, you know, Marcus Valdes-Scantling, like
players.
Yeah, just a bunch of like depth guys. Like what he was able to do with McKinnon, everyone's like, oh, it was Pat Mahomes. Like, no, like go back and watch like what he was actually doing. Whether it was like delayed routes, you know, in the backfield, but then also like I remember Gibson, I think it was the Packers game, he had a touchdown. He actually lined up in the slot, and it was kind of like a little delay thing, but it was like just a cut across the middle, wasn't anything crazy fancy. But I forgot it was either Terry or Jahan had like an out route, and it just drew the corner and the safety kind of bit on it too, and he was just wide open right there in the back of the end zone. So I think he's going to like keep him in the backfield, but he's also going to be able to line him up. Just kind of, I mean, I don't know if you watch Curtis Samuel, he lined up in the backfield a good bit too.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be kind of a similar clone of what Curtis does, but a little bit different just because he's a bigger body guy. He's not like as shifty as Curtis, who I think is super underrated, by the way. I had to study Curtis Samuel for the scouting academy. I went back and just actually watched like just him. And I'm like, yo, Curtis is actually pretty filthy. Like, the Jaguars game, he showed off a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely moments and stuff. I think he had like that. I don't know. He had like 1 or 2 fumbles last year that like absolutely devastating. But besides that, like again, coming out of the backfield and the stuff that I guess Scott Turner and stuff could draw up for him.
We'll give him credit.
We'll give him credit. I guess Scott Turner could draw up for him. Was like pretty interesting, and now with a more advanced offensive coordinator and Eric Bieniemy, I think we could definitely see a lot of creative stuff.
Yeah, because Gibson's touches dropped like 100. I want to say it was really close to 100, and his fumbles went from 6 to 1, like which is what you want.
Right.
And with Gibson, they were trying to force him to run behind the line, like up the middle, like 0 tech, 1 tech, 2, whatever. Like it's not working. Like that's just not his game. No.
Yep.
And then you watch the Bills game, and he's getting a pass on the outside, and he's in space, and he takes it like 80 yards or something crazy.
Right,
like this is what he can do, but y'all refuse to give him the ball in space. You keep saying like, "Hey, we need a running back, run up the middle," but now you have Brian Robinson who can clearly do that. Missed a good bit of games and still like had almost 800 yards rushing.
Yeah,
and still like he has a certain skill set. Chris Rodriguez comes in. There's a couple other running backs. But it just allows you to use Gibson better to where you aren't forcing him to do so much that he's not comfortable with, causing the 6 fumbles. So like I said, last year you saw a little bit of a transition to that, to where they focused on him like being more of a receiving threat, running when he needs to. But it wasn't just like a halfback gut like Madden, like let's just run up the middle, like a little draw or something. It was smarter. But I think this year we'll see like the full arsenal. And I'm not some like fantasy football like pro or anything like that, but I'd be super high on him as like a depth running back on my team, because you don't know what Eric Bieniemy is about to do for him. So it's like kind of like a hit or miss, but the potential is there. I'm not saying he's going to have 9 receiving touchdowns like Jerick McKinnon, but shoot, give me 4 and like 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns. Like I think that's a really good season for AG, who's coming into his last year, by the way.
Yeah.
I just kind of mixed it up. So I mean, Jerick McKinnon is actually like super smaller than Antonio Gibson too, but Gibson's shifty for his size. He's a little bowling ball, but I'm excited to see what Eric Bieniemy does with him. I think he's one of the guys that really benefits a lot from Eric Bieniemy, outside like the obvious Sam Howell. But if you look at guys that have already been on this team, like Cole Turner, I'll even put him in there too. There's a lot to be excited about with Eric Bieniemy because of what he was working with.
Yeah, we talked about the tight ends, like how Eric Bieniemy used Travis Kelce last year. And this year now, we got Cole Turner, Logan Thomas. Again, Thomas, I really thought we were going to cut him at some point this offseason. Doesn't look like it. We have him, John Bates, and Cole Turner. Cole Turner last year dealt with some concussions, was really kind of one of the training camp standouts last year before dealing with his injuries. And, of course, we've lost Armani Rogers, who I thought would play a lot bigger role than he did last year this year. So, yeah, a lot to be excited about with the tight ends as well. Now I kind of want to move on to the offensive line. I think there's some younger players, there's some older players here. A lot of shifting from 2022 to 2023. Who do you think we drafted Ricky Stromberg, drafted Braden Daniels, brought in Andrew Wiley, brought in Trent Scott and someone else.
Nick Gates.
Oh, Nick Gates, yeah. And Nick Gates as well. So who do you think, going from left to right, what would you say is the week 1 starting offensive line?
Oh, week 1. It's not going to be what I want it to be, but it's pretty much like set now. It'll be Leno.
Yeah.
That left guard spot's going to be between.
So it's going to be like Sadiq Charles or Chris Paul, basically.
Yeah. And they really like Chris Paul. Like I was high on Sadiq, but we just had like every time we've seen him, it's been rough. So I think I think Chris Paul actually earns it in training camp. That's my prediction. And then it'll be Nick Gates at center. And then hopefully Cosme does well at right guard.
Need him.
I think it's on too.
Yeah. Tackle was not it though.
No, and that's the thing. Like he was one of the best, like RAS, like the relative athletic score. He was the highest tackle ever. Like because he's just that much of a freak athlete, but his arm length really kills him. It's kind of like Skronsky out of Northwestern. I think eventually he'll end up at guard.
I think he's starting there this year. I want to say I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was at OTs or whatever. He was lining up at left guard.
Really? I think that's best for him, honestly. People like saying like no, force him to tackle. I'm like no. And then Wiley, and Wiley's like a huge wild card in my opinion. You don't know what you're about to get with that guy.
No,
he's either going to be good like he was in the Super Bowl. He was phenomenal. You can blame it on the field, whatever. I'll say like the last 3 weeks, like the entire playoff run, this guy had like a Jordan run.
Yeah,
a Michael Jordan-esque of a tackle. Like this dude was flawless in the playoffs. Like I loved it. He was trap moving guys like Hassan Reddick and Sweat, and like I mean it was dirty. But then the beginning of the season was really bad for him. So
it's like really like you said, the wild card. If he can be somewhat consistent, this year, then it's a win because it's better than last year. So, I think Wiley would definitely be starting on right tackle. Left tackle, I got Leno. Left guard, I have Charles, but again, that's really up in the air. I'm not confident in that at all. Center, Nick. Again, once more, I really think Ricky Stromberg could get the job week 1. I mean, if he doesn't get it week 1, he's going to be starting at some point this season.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Gates is going to last long at center. But again, if we don't have a confident left guard, could move again the versatility that Washington prioritized with their offensive line this season. Could move. You could move Gates over to left guard, bring in Stromberg in the center. So that could also be an option, and then Cosme, of course, at right guard. So
yeah, honestly, I'm really high on Ricky Stromberg. He was my third center.
Oh yeah, he was my third center too.
And when he came and visited Washington, I was talking to my guy Ken. I think on Twitter his name's Burgundy Bird. Yeah, he's a local guy, UVA fan, super cool dude. I was like, me and him were talking. I was like, dude, Washington's high on this guy. Like, don't be surprised if he's one of these little middle round guys. Because I wanted them to get a center, but I didn't think they were going to go with one early. Unless someone like fell to them, it was just good value. I didn't think they would. So I was like, dude, don't be surprised if Stromberg is one of these middle round guys. And I think he's the long term center. And I told people, and they hated me. His dad blocked me, but I was like, Chase Rowley is getting cut. Yeah, he's not. I mean, it's a business. I like the guy a lot, but I'm telling you, his salary cap's too high. He's not gonna be on this team next year. People are like, oh, you're crazy. He's really good.
Back knee injuries now.
Yeah, 10 games in 2 seasons. That's not gonna cut it. So I think Stromberg, and who was it? John Keim came out and said like rookie minicamps that he's not there yet. The team doesn't think he's there yet. Okay. So that's why Nick Gates is like the starting center. But like the best outcome is Ricky Stromberg like gets ready and he's the center, and then Nick Gates is left guard. Yeah. Like that's the best 5 on the line. It's not Sadiq Charles, Chris Paul, and then or one of those guys, and then Nick Gates at center. I think Nick Gates is gonna be a good center, but I think he would be a better guard, and Stromberg at center would be phenomenal for us. Like that's what I hope happens. Like week 5, 6, something like that. Like please, Stromberg.
I overall, I hope this offensive line stays healthy because I mean, there's some young guys on here. Cosme's still pretty young, only in his 3rd year. You got Stromberg in his 1st year. Braden Daniels will be some nice depth this year
I like
if he
Daniels
stays healthy. I liked him a lot too as well. But then you also have some older guys where it seems like one big injury and that could be it for them. Leno, Wiley's getting up there in age. Like,
Norwell's going to be gone any day.
Yeah. No, I think he was already cut.
I think they're like waiting for him here to be healthy to like actually be able to cut him. So he's probably just milking that. But he's not with the team really. But it was just a bunch of older guys last year, and they tried to tell us, "Oh, this line's fine." We made changes. Trey Turner's here. I'm like, no, that's not the answer. That was a train wreck Turner. That's all I saw all season long was that whole right guard spot. Right guard and left guard last year was awful. Like going to that Eagles game live, the first one, and just watching it, I was just like,
that was depressing.
I was like, give me some pads. I can at least try more than this.
Yeah, and here one last storyline. To cap it off, again, we know who our QB1 is. Know who the QB2 is. The 3rd spot, though, I know because the new rule, you can now activate 3 quarterbacks for an NFL game and won't count again. The 3rd quarterback won't count against your active roster. Right now, you got Tim DeMorat and then Jake Fromm on the roster. Do you believe one of those will be on the final roster, or do you think it might be someone else?
I'm not really big on Jake Fromm. I like Tim. He's got a gun. I know he was at Fordham, and people are like, what's a small school? Too. Oh, yeah, he's big, but he's got a cannon. He broke like every record there. He had the most touchdowns by a quarterback in the last like 2 seasons. I think he's got a solid chance. I'm excited to see him too because I'm trying to talk to him a little bit on Twitter. And just because I thought he was a beast in college, but I get it. Like small school, people have hesitations. But then like you see like the Malik Willis stuff going around too. Like if he is somehow cut, I love Malik. And people are like, no, we don't need him. We have Sam. I'm like, I'm not saying he's quarterback 1. Like, bring him in as a quarterback 3 because that's what he's about to be. If he stays with Tennessee, behind Tannehill and Levis, like he'll be a quarterback 3. Like he wouldn't care. Like he got cut. What's he gonna do? Like, there's no hurt in my opinion bringing him in. I mean, he's only his 2nd year in the league. Yeah. Still super raw. Yeah, you could mix up some like rushing packages and stuff with him if you wanted to, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But just let him develop and just let him be himself as a quarterback 3. Like there's nothing, bad about that. Brissett's the kind of guy that would be a really good like leader and mentor for him too. And same with Sam. Like they spent a lot of time together at the Senior Bowl stuff. Yeah, like they're cool. And they're actually a lot of like super good values, just good people. Like I love Malik. His mom and dad were a trip at the Senior Bowl. I was sitting next to him the whole time, didn't even realize it until he started practicing. They're like freaking out. I'm like, all right, y'all got to be his parents. And they're just like, yeah. I was like, man, I really want like him or Sam. I was like, I really want either of those at Washington. And they're like, yeah, we want to go somewhere in the South, like where it's hot because they're from Atlanta and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just a really good guy. So I mean, I think you would at least kick the tires on Malik.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think you're starting to convince me here with Demora. Again, I was one of those people that like small school, kind of like a little bit concerned about that. But again, if Malik Willis gets cut, please, like that guy, he had one of the highest ceilings in his draft class for quarterback last year or in 2022, in my opinion. So I think definitely we could bring him in if you were to get cut. Now here to cap off the episode, we'll each give one offensive player that we think will be the breakout player for Washington next year, and also one defensive player. I'll let you go first for this one.
Oh, Washington. Offense. An offense. I want to say, I guess Jahan Dotson's my breakout guy because I guess he's a second-year guy. And I just think he's that good. Like I think the league's really about to see how good he is.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think Jahan is going to be the offensive guy.
Yeah, I think I had the same thing last year, but I truly believing in Sam Cosmi. It did not work out last year, but
it's a risky pick.
it is pretty risky. But again, like you mentioned, he's one of the most athletic players, like one of the most athletic offensive linemen or RAS has ever graded or whatever. So I think especially it's like he has the traits. It's just the technique, the skills, like I mean like the athletic traits. But I think at guard, I think he played a lot better at guard than at tackle in the past. It still wasn't like great, but it was still better, and he still showed flashes and stuff. So my pick would be Sam Cosmi on offense. Who would you pick for your defensive breakout player? A lot of choices for this one.
I want to say Derek Forrest, but I'm gonna surprise you. I'm gonna say Quan Martin.
Quan Martin, all right.
As a rookie,
I like that.
Yeah, as a rookie, I think he has a really good season. Quan Martin is or Dartavius, whatever you want to call him. I think he goes by Quan now.
I think he goes by Quan, yeah.
Yeah, he's a baller. Like he plays like a vet. That Illinois defense was one of my favorites to watch, like film wise, ever, because there's just guys flying all around. Kind of remind me of like these old school Alabama defenses. And like in my opinion, like he was just like one of the leaders on that team. Like he played like a 5-year vet. Like it kind of reminded me like the old school, like Ed Reed, like Troy Polamalu, like guys you just popped off the screen as like those leaders in the secondary. And we do have some young guys, and like age wise, he's not like older than Cam Curl or Derek Forrest, some of these other guys.
Wait, yeah, no. Oh no, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I got confused with Forrest. Go ahead,
yeah, but I mean they're all still like super young. We're a young defense, and which is crazy how good they're playing. Like if anything, like Kendall Fuller's like the vet leader of the group. And he's not even that old. Yeah, and he's not even that old though. Kendall is a baller, by the way. Like people need to respect him. But I think Quan Martin, he's gonna cause a lot of turnovers. You're gonna see him in the box. You're gonna see him like he can play single high if he needs to. Like he kind of reminds me of like a Jaquan Brisker when he came out of Penn State. I think he can play like a lot of different places. But there's just so many different things you can do on defense now. Like you can put him in the slot. Like he can be a nickel if you need him to be. So I'm excited for him. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people, not taking away from Forbes. I think he'll have a good season too. But I think breakout-wise, Quan Martin's going to have some big-time plays.
I'm going to go with another player in the secondary, and I think you might see this one coming. Well, I met him last year at training camp for the first time, and, man, his personality and stuff. Benjamin St. Juste, he showed so many flashes last year. That guy, he's going to have he's going to be the cornerback one. I'm going to make the prediction right now. He's going to be the cornerback one for Washington in 2024. If Kendall Fuller doesn't come back, I think St. Juste is going to have a type of year where if Ron Rivera, I guess, remains the head coach, or if the coaching staff remains the same going to 2024, which, he's gone. But I think Benjamin St. Juste is his ceiling is definitely a cornerback one in the NFL. He shows so many flashes, his ball skills and stuff at the catch point. He had a lot of pass breakups, especially in the red zone last year. Saved a lot of touchdowns. Did let up some touchdowns though, but yeah, that's my pick for defensive. So yeah,
that match with Justin Jefferson was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I said, that was one of my favorite ones to watch in person. And if you're like watching the quarterback series on Netflix, they showed it, and he broke up. I forgot who actually came down with it. Danny Johnson?
No, yeah, it was Johnson. It was Johnson
because he popped it out of Justin Jefferson's hands. Like they were going back and forth all game. Of course, like Justin Jefferson, he's the best in the league. He's going to get some on you. But St. Juice was physical. He was with him. He just can't stay healthy either.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's an interesting pick. I mean, I think he'll be good though.
Yeah,
he's the best celebration for sure.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I love his celebration so much.
Yeah, I did all that.
Yeah. All right, anything else you'd like to add here?
No, man, it was fun. I'm ready to be at training camp, so I'll definitely be.
Yeah, I'll be at training camp as well. So yeah.
What days are you going?
I'm going every day. So
every day.
Yeah,
where do you live at?
Ashford. I live like 5 minutes away. So
what? Like, where do you go? Like Broad Run High School or something?
I go to Briar. So
okay.
Yeah.
You're not that far.
I mean, like Broad Run's like right next to it, but yeah. So yeah, where can people find you on your socials?
So I mean, you only need my Instagram. I don't really post much, but Twitter wise, at Josh Taylor FB, and then my YouTube channel is just JTFB. So if you're like a Penn State fan, you can follow me for that. But obviously, posting a lot of Washington stuff, and then on my channel, I'll be doing a lot more college this season, and then just overall NFL stuff too. And then so I'll have like separate, playlists like for Washington and then NFL and then college. So kind of just combining everything, not just Washington. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, and I'll be at training camp too, trying to get some autographs and stuff, trying to stay alive.
All right, well, that'll do it for season 3 debut episode of Keeping Up with the Commanders. See you guys in the next one. Peace.